Do you know what? I'm going to say this now, and maybe we'll lead up to it at the end of the show.
Okay.
Actually, oh God, I can't believe I'm going to do this.
Go on. It's all right, mate. It's all right.
There's a Willy time with Seb that I've been holding back from telling that I've never told either of you ever. And it's one of the most embarrassing moments of my entire life.
I can't wait.
So if you listen to the end of the show, I'll tell that Willy time with Seb.
Wow. Before we get started in this episode of should we just issue a little not safe for work warning? If you are offended or a little bit squeamish about anything to do with sex and bums and all that stuff, maybe skip this episode or listen to it on 2 times fast, because that's exactly what we're going to be getting into today. So buckle up and strap on.
You've been sitting on that for a while, haven't you?
Without meaning to ruin your great punchline, there's certain family members of mine that I know listen to this, and I'm telling you now, I don't want you to. And if you go further with this, that's on you, not on me. And if you hear something about me having a wank that you don't want to hear, that is on you now, because I've told you. Okay? So just walk away.
That's a great point, Seb. Yeah, and on that note as well, anybody who is our very, very few critics of Willy Time with Seb, our favourite feature, that same goes for you as well.
Yeah, this is
all Willy Time with Seb.
Well, it's Willy Time with everyone, isn't it? It's not just
Willy
me.
Time with the boys.
And the girls, and everyone. It's an all-inclusive Willy Time.
So, with that out of the way, on this special episode of Goats, we are joined by our first ever guest on the show. Round of applause for us. We've made it, guys. So please let me introduce Amy, also known as GoatsXO on Instagram. We will put her link in the bio in the description of this podcast. She's a comedy graduate / OnlyFans extraordinaire, and she's the perfect guest to have on this episode. And if you haven't guessed already what Amy does, and the reason why we've got her on the show today, it's because we're going to be crowning the GOAT Pornstar. Now, porn has literally been around forever, and the origins can be traced back to ancient Greece. And literally, as soon as film production was invented, so was porn, the film version of porn. As soon as motion picture was invented, as soon as the camera was invented, people started filming pornos. Apparently, you're never more than 3 clicks away from porn anywhere on the internet, and Rule 34 says if it exists, there's porn of it. So, before we get into this, how is everybody? More importantly, Amy, how are you? How are you feeling? How is the honour of being the first guest on the greatest podcast of all time?
It's amazing. I didn't realise I was your first guest. That's a proper honour. That's a real honour. I was like, oh, they've probably done this with loads of people, but I feel very special. Thank you.
As men, we're great at making it look like we've done this all before, but we've actually never done it before.
You're good at winging it.
Yeah, no, first guest. So this is officially in history.
Yeah. How's everyone's weeks, weekends? What happened?
Spoiling.
It's fucking well.
That's what's happened.
Sweltering.
Do you know what else happened? This is well sad, but it's also quite funny. My cat, which you've both met.
I haven't met. Yeah.
Oh no, you haven't met. Michael's met. My cat, Luna. This is such a dramatic tale of events. So on Saturday night, she just started being sick everywhere. Just everywhere. Michael, you would have hated it. You hate sick, right?
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. I'd never seen so much come out of such a small object. And I was like, this is ridiculous. And then she's being sick. I'm cleaning up the sick. She's just sick all out of the house. She's sick in my housemate's bed. She's sick in our bed. She's sick on all the carpets. It's awful. I'm cleaning it up and I'm like, oh shit, there's a pill in this sick. And my cat had eaten one of my antidepressants. Now, can you imagine killing your cat with the thing that's supposed to make you happy? And then, so I phone up the vets. I'm like, my cat's eating one of my antidepressants. They're like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, 100%. And then they're like, oh, what is it? And then I have to have this really awkward conversation. And then the fucking geezer on the phone's like, oh, that's a lot. I'm like, yeah, thanks. I'm really depressed. You twat. And then he's like, that's way too much for a cat. And I'm like, yeah, I know. What are you talking about? I didn't mean to give it to the cat, you fucking knobhead. And then he's like, it's probably fine. She's sicked up. Just leave it overnight. I'm sure she'll be fine. We wake up the next day, there's just sick everywhere. So we're like, oh, for fuck's sake. Take her to the out of hours vet, right? The out of hours vet is like, right, she's going to need to come in. They're like looking at the pill that I fished out of her sick. And then we have to go through the whole antidepressant chat again. And then they're like, do you have pet insurance? And obviously I'm a twat. So I was like, well, no, because she's an indoor cat. And obviously indoor cats could never get sick, which is what everyone told me. Turns out they fucking can if they eat one of your antidepressants. So then she goes to the fucking cat hospital, gets all shaved up. She looks like she's had a fucking Brazilian. And then they do a blood test. They turned out it wasn't the antidepressant. What actually happened was she'd eaten one of my antidepressants, which would have killed her, right?
Yeah.
She then went into the garden, chewed on a lily, which is really allergic to cats,
Yeah.
and then sicked back up the antidepressant completely coincidentally.
Oh my god.
So actually, she poisoned herself and saved her own life.
Yes, I don't think deliberately, although maybe she did. I don't know if I want to give her that much credit. She is, she's a cat.
Yeah.
She did save her own life. But bearing in mind, we didn't have pet insurance. Do you want to play a game of higher or lower? How much did it cost to fix my cat?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go in turn. So, Amy, you go first, and then we'll just keep progressively going. And then when I hit the answer that you think it is, we'll stop. So, do you think it cost us £200 to fix our cat?
I thought I was going to say 200.
200. Michael,
Higher, way higher.
you want to go high? What figure are you going to say?
I'm going to go 700.
700. Vinny, higher or lower than 700?
I'm going $3,000.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, that's not my final guess. Sorry. I for some reason completely forgot how this works. I thought we'd go up like a bit and a bit and a bit. Yeah, nah, I'm going to say 1,500 quid as my, like, that's how much it probably cost in total.
Yeah, it was 1,500 quid.
Bang on.
£1,500.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Insane.
And she's totally fine.
Yeah.
They were just like, yeah, we thought she was going to die, and it turns out she was fine. They gave her a Brazilian, and now she's home.
Are you going to get pet insurance now?
Yeah, I probably will, yeah.
For the sake of like $3.99 a month.
Can I just say also, I don't normally shout out this kind of behaviour because I don't like to encourage it in my house. But when I'm recording, it all gets a bit tittery outside, and people like to knock on the doors and stuff. And my housemates know that this week is the Goat Pornstar, and one of them just snuck in and handed me this note of paper, which is a poorly drawn picture of him ejaculating on my mum, and it says, obvious answer, Seb's mum. So that's fucking charming.
Mate, that's fan art. That's fan art. You better pin that up. That's for the Patreon. That's for the Patreon.
That's going on Instagram. That is fucking
That's not going
brilliant.
fucking anywhere, all right?
I've got to say, Savak, you live a much more exciting and wild life than I do. My story of the week, the most exciting thing that happened to me this week was I accidentally washed my white clothes with a green tapestry, and now they're all a bit green, and I don't know what to do.
That's a disaster.
Yeah.
Amy, anything?
No, this is the highlight of my week. And getting the grass cut.
And getting the grass cut, which you did tell us before the show, was not a euphemism.
Not a euphemism.
Getting the gardener in is not a euphemism.
I can tell you my garden is not trimmed.
Oh, on that note, should we get on?
Yeah, let's start as we mean to go on. In one of the biggest industries in human history, and across billions of hours of content, which individuals stand out above all others to be held up as the goats of porn? Well, today we're going to find out. So again, buckle up and strap on as we crown the goat porn star. But let's get into it. How are we going to do this? Who's going to go first? I believe you're going to all present me a candidate, and I'm going to choose them.
Exactly. I don't mind going first.
Go on then, Sebi.
Go for it.
All right, happy days. So this week, I pulled a bit of a Michael. Amy, I don't know if you know what that means, but that means I'm going to go on quite a long, arduous and bumbling rant before I actually get to what I've chosen.
You haven't picked Gandalf, have you?
I have not picked Gandalf.
Yeah, it's not a true Michael unless the thing you've picked isn't actually a porn star and it completely breaks the rules.
That's true. Actually, maybe I haven't pulled a Michael. What I'll say is I was going to pull a Michael because the first, when we said Goat Pornstar, the first place my head went to was Jackie Chan. I was like, definitely Jackie Chan. Was that where your head went to as well,
Literally,
Amy?
I was Googling it and I was like, oh, Jackie Chan. Yeah.
Hang on.
Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan.
Yeah, Jackie Chan, at the start of his career, starred in a softcore porn comedy in Hong Kong called All in the Family, which is a rogue name for a porno.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, hello. But then I looked into it. I don't know if you did the same, Amy, but I looked into it and I realised it's only actually called porn because Hong Kong at the time was pretty conservative. It's actually not really porn. It's just like a softcore, very, very soft. It's like a sex comedy, like something a bit like Scary Movie or one of those teen movies where there's like implied sex and maybe a bit of like nudity, but it's not like you don't see anything going in anything.
Yeah.
You know,
no.
It's beyond soft. It's like there's a nipple,
Flaccid.
and that's
Flaccid porn.
Flaccid core. That's probably its own thing, to be fair. And then my brain went to the same really obvious place that everyone else's brain goes to when you're like, oh, find a funny thing to call a porn star. And I thought Kimmy K, but then I thought that's a bit overdone, innit? Everyone thought Kim K, and like, to be fair to her, she's done well from it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
she has done really, really well from that. And then I was looking into it, and there's some questions about like the consent, about whether that she wanted that take, and I was like, I don't want to. No. Like, I don't want to crown someone the GOAT for something they didn't want people to see. That's not us. And then, so I started, and the trouble is, I don't know if you guys found this, but when you start trying to look up greatest porn stars, it's just lists of like, she's fit, he's got a big dong, she's fit. And it's like, this isn't anything. This is just nonsense. This is dribble. So I was looking through an article written by the most renowned and honourable of all newspapers, The Sun, and I came across this line: US porn actress Lisa Sparks set world record when she had sex with 919 men in a single day during Eroticon 2004 as part of the 3rd annual World Gangbang Championship.
Oh my god.
And that piqued my interest.
That sounds painful.
Yes.
919 dicks.
I know.
In a day.
In 7.5 hours. So.
Oh, not in a day. In less than half a day.
So basically, the long and short of it was this. She competed against the previous world record holder, which was like something like 400 or so, is a Brazilian woman called Patricia. And they basically, it was in Poland, in Warsaw, in a warehouse for Eroticon. And basically for 7.5 hours, 919 men came in one by one and had sex with her for 30 seconds at a time. And what's impressive is they had to like, the logistics of it is they had to like fluff them up ready. And then once they were ready, they were like, go, go, go. And they had like 30 seconds to finish or get out of there. Like, they can't waste any time.
Did they have to finish for it to be counted?
I don't think so. So here's the thing. I think originally that was the idea, but it started to just descend into nonsense. And so I'm coming to this bit. So basically, it all started to get a bit shit, but not like in an uncomfortable way. She just started to find it really boring. And there's a video of her eating a Big Mac halfway through.
Fucking hell.
She's just like, I am done with this. This is absolutely tragic. Can you imagine being the guy who's like, oh, I'm like 526. And she's like, yeah, all right, mate, keep going. Yeah, you're doing so... Oh, it's so big. It's the biggest I've seen all day. But yeah, so I was like, purely as an athletic and logistical achievement, that's incredible, right?
Yeah.
And then I found her website and I was reading through it and I was like, oh, this is great. Like, there's a gold mine of hilarious quotes. Like, she says she's like as curvy as a Texan country road. And I was like, this is fantastic. This is definitely getting in. But then she said the World Gangbang the World Gangbang Championships was the only thing in her 21-year porn career that she regrets because it wasn't a proper gangbang.
I was just going to say, that's not a gangbang. One girl getting shagged, once at a time.
Not even properly.
It's a conveyor belt at that point.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what she said. Whereas there's one that she was aiming at, which was 500 people, and they were really going at it. That was 500, like, just bodies and juices everywhere. And it's called, like, the something 500, the Houston 500. It's like a big famous thing. And she was like, I wanted to do that, and that's not what I was given. It was really boring. It's a bit of a letdown. So I was like, well, fuck, I can't do that. I don't want to crown her the GOAT for something she didn't want to do.
Oh, so you're not even crowning this chick 919 dicks in a day as the GOAT?
No, I've got 3 more pages of A4 to go. Don't worry.
Holy shit! So someone's done a better achievement than that. Because I'm sorry, that is like I'm gonna talk about the Ash champion later, but that lady is. Wow, that's amazing, that achievement, and that's not even the best. So
Well, here's the thing. So I was racking my brains and I was thinking, what is a porn incident that is so big that it like shook mainstream news? Like, what's something so massive that everyone knows it happened? And obviously, the first thing I thought was Two Girls, One Cup. We've already covered that. That's old news. Blah, 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 boring. And then I remembered in the deep recesses of Willy Time with Sev, an incident that was so big, it made it into the news. Not only did it make it into the news, but it made it into international politics, and there was death threats. And I was like, that's what I'm doing. What heinous act could cause such a massive reaction? Death threats. How could a porn film cause death threats, right? Was it a real-life version of the Human Centipede? No, it wasn't. It was a pretty boring, tame threesome video uploaded to Pornhub. There was just one thing that made it different from all the others. The 2 women in the video were wearing hijabs. Those 2 women were Juliana Vega and none other than the now infamous, world-famous GOAT pornstar, Mia Khalifa. The video featured the 2 women having a threesome with a guy called Sean Lawless. And in the video, Sean played the part of Mia's boyfriend, a motorbike riding US soldier. Now, this video, as you can imagine, showing 2 women in hijabs performing sex acts on a US soldier, did cause a little bit of a stir. And I think we can all understand why. The person who received the most flack was Mia Khalifa because she has Lebanese heritage. So a lot of people felt like it was her turning her back on her like Arabic roots.
oh right, like she should know better.
Like, yeah, so like whereas Juliana Vega and Sean Lawless, they're just like actors, and Juliana Vega's actually Hispanic, so she's not like, she's just wearing it as like a costume. Mia Khalifa, it's like something that she was brought up around, so people felt that she should know better and that she was insulting the Muslim world. This led to her being publicly disowned by her parents on the news. They said that she was no longer a part of her family. And even more worryingly, members of ISIS were sending her pictures to her personal email address of her house.
Fuck.
Scary.
So they were standing outside her house or going on Google Maps and taking pictures of her house and saying, we know where you live. Now, the reason I like Mia Khalifa so much is the way that she dealt with this, because there was one really, really famous incident that made the news, which was an image was circulated online, which had been photoshopped very realistically to look like she was being beheaded as part of an ISIS beheading. And the caption said that she would burn in all hell's fire. And her reply was, that's good, I've been meaning to get a little tan recently. And I just think that makes you a bad bitch.
Yeah.
Now, I know, and I fully accept, and I think we can all understand that what she did is undeniably offensive. And I wouldn't say it's a particularly good idea. But she has as much of a right to make porn and wear a hijab as anyone who is offended by it. That's her right. She can do that. And you can turn around and say, I don't like that. You can't threaten to fucking kill her. That's insane. That's mental. But this whole debacle led to her, in just 3 months of working in the porn industry, becoming the most searched porn actor in the world ever.
Ever?
Because it was like a Streisand effect. Like, the more people talked about it and the more it became this like infamous video, the more people just kept on pushing and pushing and pushing and trying to search it. It's the most viewed video only under Kim Kardashian's sex tape on Pornhub, I believe. It's massive.
Oh.
It's like the biggest thing that's ever happened ever. So then 2 weeks later, she is part of this massive thing. She's being offered all these huge contracts. She's like a huge star. She's like the biggest porn star in the world. And she signs this huge contract with the network Bang Bros, who are like a subsidiary of some other company. And she signed up to do like several porn shoots a month. And she's like on this big deal. And then she suddenly just pulls a bit of a Dave Chappelle and just walks out. Just says, actually, I don't want to do it. I've had enough. I don't think this is for me. And actually, I feel like I've been dishonoured by the way that I've been treated in the porn industry. And obviously, that would be it. That would be just like a funny anecdote about how this one woman comes in, takes the porn industry by storm, goes to number one, and then just walks away. That'd be it. But the reason that I picked her as my GOAT, and one of the reasons I think she's so cool, is not only because she's currently still, in 2022, the 6th most searched porn star globally, now, in 2022, but she came back after a hiatus and did an interview with BBC News and a couple of other news outlets and started talking about why she left the porn industry. And I would really recommend it. What I would not recommend is typing in Mia Khalifa BBC. That does not get you what you want to see.
Why?
Just type in.
Why is there? British Broadcasting Company.
Indeed. Look, I was as stunned as you were. Don't get me wrong, but it didn't go the way I expected. So I would just look up Mia Khalifa Hard Talk, which is also funny, but doesn't get you where you want to go.
Also funny,
but gets you to the interview. And as part of this interview, she basically spoke about how young women are exploited into really, really bad porn contracts when they're really, really vulnerable, and especially if they have a scene that blows up. It's very, very common for those people to then be told that they're being given a really, really good contract, and especially people in Mia Khalifa's position where her family have disowned her. A lot of people's parents aren't that into them doing porn, so they struggle to have like a family unit that can assess the contracts and job opportunities that they're signing up to. And she talked about that a lot. And then she also talked about how she had very little say in the scenes that she was asked to do, and how the hijab scene was not really a choice. She just turned up on set and they said, you're wearing this, you're doing this scene, on your crack.
Get on with it. Yep.
And I saw this interview when I was 19, and I remember finding it really shocking. And I think the most shocking part of the interview for me was what she revealed at the end, which is that for everything that she went through, for the death threats, for being the most searched porn star in the world globally, she's still the 6th most searched porn star globally. She's this infamous star, one of the biggest videos that's ever been made. She made $12,000 net. That's all she ever made.
That's ever in porn?
Ever in porn. She made $12,000.
Wow.
To have
Fuck
ISIS
that.
death threats. Yeah, I know. Fuck that.
Yeah.
So because of that, for me personally, and I remember like it was a big thing. It's a ridiculous thing to say, but it was where I was like on at the time, a big thing on Reddit. There was a big movement of people looking to find porn and watch porn made by creators and people who made their own porn, because there was this sudden realization that people were being really heavily exploited. And actually, it was much more moral to watch porn on things like Reddit, where people just upload videos themselves. They might be promoting an OnlyFans. They might just enjoy doing it. But either way, you can guarantee that what you're watching has been made by someone who knows exactly what they're doing and has made the choice to make that video.
100% consent.
Yeah, 100% consent. And this might be too much information, but at 19, that was like a big realization for me. Like, I was 19, I just, like, it's gross, but you start watching porn when you're like, I was probably way too young. And for the longest time, porn had just been porn. I just typed in things I wanted to see, and I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. Watch a plumber bang a sexy housewife. That sounds great.
Yeah.
And I'd never thought about the fact that, not just the women involved, but the men, all of it. I'd never thought that those people really have like a whole life that revolves around that. I just thought, well, it's there, I'll watch it. You know, it's got nothing to do with me. I don't make that decision. And to be fair, when you're fucking 14, that is a bit of a big thought. And that's one of the reasons it's so worrying. Like, it is a weird concept that you have kids engaging in something where, like, consent is obviously so important. But, like, I remember at 19 thinking like, oh, that's really shit. And to be honest with you, her interview and that moment, oh God, this is so embarrassing to say, but like it stuck with me. And in a weird little way, I'm only saying this because we're talking about porn, it's affected the porn that I have engaged with for the rest of my time watching porn. I don't watch
That's
porn
fair
that much
enough.
anymore.
It's not
I'm
embarrassing. Yeah.
going to be totally honest that obviously I'm in a long-term relationship. I don't watch porn that much anymore. But if I do, it would probably be on somewhere like Reddit or OnlyFans, where I knew that the person who'd made that knew why they'd made that and had been compensated fairly for making that. Whether that's for free, maybe they just get off on doing it. They put it out for free and you watch it for free. But that's a much more fair transaction than going onto a porn site, watching something that might make the studio $1 million, but might make the woman who did it 12,000. Like that just sat with me, and I don't know why. It's a bizarre thing to say. And like, I don't know, recently all my goat pics have suddenly become like a bit emotional or a bit deep. But like, for me, that is why I remembered this realization. And I think like, I remember for me, it felt like that moment was a big moment in progression across the internet. Like it did change the culture that I was around and the way that people viewed porn when she came out and said, I made $12,000 for having my life ruined. And like, and then at the end, she was like, oh, you can go and look at my OnlyFans and you can buy my porn if you want to see porn that I actually want to make. And I was like, shit, that's fucking solid.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. But I particularly like what you're saying about the fact that, the exploitation and stuff of it, and how, like, it spawned, like, people to create their own stuff and become actual creators of content they want to make. And obviously, we have a creator of content that they want to make right here. So I thought I would ask you about that and say, OnlyFans is a big, important thing. Like, do you think it's really important that people are able to make stuff they want to make and get paid fairly for it? And also, the second part of the question is, when they came out and said, like, oh, we're going to ban porn from the website, like, what was that like? Were you just like, what the fuck? What am I supposed to do? Obviously, that's been rescinded now, but just get your thoughts on that whole scenario as well.
Yeah, OnlyFans is amazing. I think that it's just incredible that women can do this all from their homes. Like, you don't have to contact some weirdos online and be like, can I come and film? Like, you don't have to get into any contracts with anyone. You can just be at home and be like, sign up on your phone, do it all yourself. You get verified and stuff, so there's just like no dodginess to it, which is just revolutionary, really. Yeah, and I remember reading about like getting like a little thing like, oh, we're banning anything explicit from our website. Like, they like emailed people, and I was like, shit. So like that's like rent gone. Like, I was just like, fuck. Like, I'm absolutely fucked, and just like panic, like just complete panic. Like, all these girls like messaging me on Instagram, like, what the fuck do we do? And then they emailed again, I think a couple of days later, and they were just like, oh no, we've changed our minds. And it was like really strange, actually. Like, I'm actually still kind of confused about what actually happened. And some people were like, oh, it's a publicity thing. Like, they wanted to just like get everyone riled up and panicked, subscribe to loads of people with OnlyFans, and then be like, no, actually, we're not doing it. So yeah.
Yeah, from my point of view, like, I don't know if OnlyFans existed before, like, people made explicit content on it, and it was like a place where, I don't know, let's say if like the podcast had an OnlyFans, it was a bit like a Patreon, you could go and get exclusive content. Like, I don't know if that existed before, but like, to my knowledge, OnlyFans has been what it is. It is just basically explicit content for the most part. So to go out and say we're banning all of that, yeah, is people's lives. Like, fuck, that's people's jobs. Like, that they want to do, like, you want to make that content. That's, you want to get paid for it and have that recognition. It just seemed like mental, like truly mental.
Yeah, I think it's the first. OnlyFans is like the first time they've, what's the word? Like, put it all into like one like website. Because before it was like you'd have to like build your own website and like work out how to do all this technical stuff to get like transferred and stuff. So it's like the first time they put it all.
And then how do you promote it as well? Like, advertise it and stuff. Like, it must be a bitch.
And also, just like, I guess it kind of, I don't know, maybe this is not right. I'm just looking at this from like a perspective of someone who's not been a part of that. But like, it must feel a lot safer knowing that like there's a whole system designed for it, rather than just being like, oh, I remember people being like, oh, you buy me something off of this and then I'll send you this. And it's like, that whole system feels kind of, I don't know what the right word is, but it doesn't feel safe. And it doesn't feel like you're doing something for you, it feels like you're taking part of like a transaction that maybe isn't like as, I don't know, as nice as whereas being able to just have this whole like system that's just set up for you.
Well, before I started OnlyFans and before I even knew it was a thing, people would just like message me on Instagram and be like, oh, if I send you like 80 quid, can you send me a picture of your tits? And I didn't realise, I did it for a while with lots of people and never had any issues. And then one time did it and he spent, I don't know, a few hundred. And I didn't realise on PayPal, people can take back money. Like you can like refund it. So I got like scammed essentially and I just had no idea. So
That's
yeah,
fucking so shady, man.
who would have thought you could do that? I had no idea.
The other thing I was going to ask, and like this is just again, I feel like we're just like berating you with questions because we don't really understand it. But like, how do you get past people just like taking your content and then putting it somewhere else? Like that must like for me, like I even think about that, like because obviously in my other job I run like a much bigger Patreon website, and one of the problems we have is people taking stuff off our Patreon and just giving it to other people for free. Like it's a huge problem. Like we'll put up like a bonus episode for people who've paid like 20 quid and then it just goes to like a million people for free and you're like, oh fuck. And then you try and report it and it never goes quick enough and it's like a whole thing. Do you have that same problem?
Yeah, well, I don't because I'm not like that big on it, so I don't think people are like looking for my leaked stuff really. But what I've heard is that every time someone gets a leak, they also get the amount of subscribers they get goes up by like so much. Like it's actually really like promotional for them, and obviously it's still a very bad thing.
It's almost like free publicity.
Yeah, obviously like people should not be doing it. It's like highly illegal, like awful, but that's like the silver lining that I've heard from girls who've been like, actually, it just did me so well. Now I make so much more.
Oh, that's good. I mean, it's sad, but it's also, at least there is a silver lining.
There is a positive to it. Yeah, that like it's theft, but at least you're getting something back for it if there's nothing else, you know.
Could you not just then accidentally leak any nudes just for a little bit of publicity? Is that not like a business model?
I've actually like, and this is, I've never said anything. I've like sent the Sun like nudes and stuff before. You know, like if you send like the Sun newspaper on the website, you can like find their emails. Like send us stories. I'm always like, I'll just like leak. I'll just be like crazy OnlyFans girls, like, and but they don't give a shit. They must just see them and be like, well, weirdo.
Really? That's
Yeah.
so funny. What's funny though, Amy, is you do have an article in the Sun which I've read.
I do. Yeah.
Really?
That's true.
Have you guys not read the Sun article? Oh fuck! I should have sent it to you. It's really funny.
It's awful.
Go on then.
But
Who wants to tell the story then? Seb want to tell it?
Amy,
Or do
you tell
want
it.
to
It's
Amy?
really funny though. It's so good.
So I can tell you what happened, but there's actually like details I don't think I'm allowed to like talk about, which is because I like signed like a thing, and I don't know if you guys count as like reporters, but like I'm not allowed to like say a lot about it, which is
Okay.
weird. So yeah, I'm allowed to say that I was like in the Sun, and it was because I spent a lot of my student loan on lip fillers, and I can't remember what the headline was, but it was something like girl spends thousands of pounds of her OnlyFans, like not her OnlyFans money, of her student loan on lip fillers, and there was just like uproar.
Right.
But I mentioned that my friend, I would laugh with my friends about spending taxpayers' money on fillers, because that's what I did laugh about. And they like took that and they were like, "We are running with this," and
That's
just
the
like,
headline.
yeah.
I'm literally reading it right now. So the headline is this: Bit lippy. I'm spending my student loan on monthly lip fillers. Pal's joke, it's the taxpayers' money, but I'm not bothered.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Amy, that's so
God.
fucking good. You're a legend. It's so funny.
I mean, to be fair, like, Vinny, you've been a student, and I've seen you just splash your student loan on fucking Jaeger bombs. So what's the difference between that and
Weed.
lip fillers?
Exactly.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's that much harm in it, and you know, it's not like Boris isn't wasting taxpayers' money on fucking test and trace and all other shit. So what's a few lip fillers?
Exactly, and they like conveniently forgot to mention that I also do OnlyFans, and that during COVID I like worked on like helplines and stuff. Like they ignored the fact that I make money in other areas. They were just like, "Oh, she only uses her student loan on it."
Well, it's like anything. It's one of the things that weirdly is the only time I ever stick up for politicians is when they spend their own wages on a thing for them. And then everyone's like, that's taxpayers' money. And it's like, but it's their wages. They should be able to like have a house. Like, I'm not saying that you should spend money that isn't yours on stuff that you want. But like, if you get paid whatever a politician gets paid, 100k, and you buy a new car, that's your car. You can't have everyone be like, well, that's taxpayers' money. Like, well, no, it's not. It's your money. It's the same for the Litfin. It's like,
a student loan isn't taxpayers' money, is it? Because you're going to pay it back. So you're borrowing it, actually. So if you pay it back, it doesn't fucking matter what you spend on.
I'm not paying my fucking student loan back. They could kiss my ass.
In theory,
I'm
you
taking that to
are
the grave.
I love the idea that Vinny would rather die than pay back his student loan.
Yeah, I'm jumping off a building if I get like that. If I get a wage high enough where I have to pay that, I'm like, fuck that. I'm jumping off a building. they're not getting any of that back.
Just fuck this. I'm out here,
Oh man.
Yeah, fair play.
I did want to ask you one more question, Amy, if that's all right, because segueing from the Mia Khalifa thing, obviously what she had to do, wearing a hijab, was quite a weird request. And I've read articles before about OnlyFans and their weird requests, and I'm quite fascinated by it. So, have you got any weird, funny, random things people have asked you to do? I don't know, poo in a bucket. You don't have to say if you've done them or not at all, but if you have ever had anything hilarious that someone's asked you to do, if you are able to tell us, please do, because it will really make me laugh.
I haven't had that many weird ones. I've had like pissing myself, like fully clothed, like just like piss, which is strange. But I've had requests for other things that like are off of OnlyFans. So like I get a lot of men asking me if I would just like kick them in the balls like repeatedly. I feel like I would be happy to do that, but I'm not meeting a stranger to kick him in the balls.
Yeah.
It would be the weirdest.
That is insane, man. That's really weird.
It's a big thing.
Well, no, it's less right. I'm gonna retract me saying the word weird now, because I don't want to like shame people for like the thing that they like. Like, if you like being kicked in the bollocks really hard, like, power to you, mate. Like, fair enough, because they might think that all the vanilla shit that I like is like weird as well. Do you know what I mean? Just because I'm not wanting to get kicked in the balls. But I mean, it is interesting and it is quite funny to me.
Have you seen the stamp guy? The guy with all the stamps? Oh my god, man. It's part of I believe it's a Louis Theroux documentary, but I'm not sure. But there's this guy, he's like a Scandinavian stamp collector. And so like obviously, as we've been talking about, like the real money in porn now is in like bespoke things that people want just for them. So like on OnlyFans and stuff like that. And he basically collected stamps his whole life. And he has this stamp collection that's worth, and I don't want to say a really big figure, it's definitely worth more than $100,000. 100%. Like, I can guarantee that. I don't know how much more, but we're talking like hundreds of thousands. And he gets to like his mid-40s. He's never had sex. And he just goes, fuck it. And he sends his stamp collection to an OnlyFans model and then pays them, it's a couple, and pays them a really high amount of money to burn the book of stamps whilst having sex and calling him a pussy.
Oh my god.
That don't make you come, I don't know what will.
Holy fuck. That's like humiliation, like fetish to the extreme.
But I remember in the documentary, the couple are like, it was one of the only ones that we didn't really want to do because we felt so bad about like the actual money that was being burnt. And like they had this whole thing about like morally whether it was okay if they like hid, like they thought about like taking the stamps out of the book and just burning the book and like not burning his stamps and then actually sending him the stamps back because they were like, this is so much money. Like, we don't know if we want to do this.
But that's not the contract, is it? If
well,
he's
that's the
paid
thing.
them, that's not the contract. You've broken the agreement. They have to do it. It's what he wants.
That was well. That's what they did it. They burnt it. I think they pissed on it, and then they called him pussy.
I loved hearing your answers to those questions because I'm fascinated by all this stuff. But who wants to go next? Vinny, Amy, who's brave enough to give me their next goat suggestion?
I'll go next. I'll go for it. I'm a bit nervous.
Go for it.
Yeah, Amy can go next, and Vinny, you can bring us up the rear.
I'll be
Okay.
the cherry on top.
So I should probably not. I'll like build up some tension, you know, before I tell you exactly who it is. Okay, so I'll read you her Twitter bio. Keeping it sexy and real since '82. Teacher, mentor, pioneer, feminist, entertainer, thinker, kinkster, lover, jazz fan.
Is it Michael?
82. Sounds like my kind of woman, actually.
Yeah, well, wait, it gets better. It gets better. Okay, so she's won over 25 awards, including the MILF Performer of the Year Award and the Fanny Lifetime Achievement Award. She's been in over 1,000 adult films, including a lot of the Debbie Does franchise. Don't know if you know them. Debbie Does Wall Street and Debbie Does Dishes. And lesbian scenes are her speciality. She's now like super fucking cool. Like she goes to like unis and she does like sex education guides and stuff like that. She is Nina Hartley. I had actually never heard of her, and then I was like doing some research and I found her, and then I realized I've literally watched so many of her porn videos. I was like, I do know this woman. I've just like never clocked names, because who looks for names?
Who does that? Who watches porn and remembers the names?
Literally.
That's the signs of a psychopath. I'm looking at you, Vinny. I bet Vinny can rattle them off.
Wait, you gotta... No, right, okay, right. So if you... you find one you really like... okay, I'm not gonna say...
No, carry on.
Well, if you find one that you've really connected with, you've really fallen in love with, you need to jot that name down on a list.
Well, like
fuck, I don't want to see your list, mate.
Oh my god, I've watched this woman as well.
Yes, she's iconic.
I remember, this is so bad, this is an impromptu Willy time with Seb. I remember when I was about 15, and bearing in mind I didn't have sex for another good few years. I'm not going to say how many, but I did not need to be looking up this information just yet. I watched Nina Hartley give an infomercial style thing on how to lick Fanny.
So did I.
No!
We're like too young. Like that was one of my first porn videos that I ever watched.
That was one of my first ones as well. Because I remember being like, well, I need to, if I'm going to watch porn, it may as well be educational. And I was like, if I'm going to lick a fanny, I want to know how to do it properly.
Oh,
and do you know what? I still think back to that video.
She's great. She's so cool. Yeah, so she used to be a nurse, and then she started stripping in her like sophomore year, which is, I don't know when your sophomore year is. Is that like your last one?
Second year.
I think it's your middle year.
Second year, yeah.
Middle year, second year. Yeah, she's so cool. I'll read you like some little stuff. She was asked by an interviewer if she was like a naughty nurse, and she said no, but she said she had moments, this is like interesting but slightly strange, where she would be giving men like bed baths, and she'd have this thought like, how great would it be if I could give him a bed bath and a happy ending? And how stupid it is that if she got caught, she would be like kicked out. And she was like, it's so stupid that as a part of our like whole body wellness, we have decided that we should like ignore this like part of the body, and that we should have to like stay away from sexual pleasure, even though it's like beneficial for people's mental health. Like as a nurse, it's something that she like recognized.
Oh yeah.
I've got some more interesting facts. She said that she saw the 1976 erotic film, The Autobiography of a Flea, by Sharon McKnight, alone in the theatre in San Francisco, and that's when she chose to do porn. So this porn video was the flea, like a flea's perspective of a girl who has sex with people. And that was like her inspiration. She was like, shit, this is for me.
So it's like Fly on the Wall, but it's Flea on the Wall.
Yeah, and then she started working in porn in 1984 because she saw it as a way of making a career out of having sex, which is iconic and the dream. And she said she told one of her sex education classes that she got into porn because that's where the naked ladies were.
I like it.
That's a good mantra, yeah.
That's a great motivation. Although I feel like if a guy said it, it'd be more sleazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's something about that, isn't there? Comes from Nina Hartley, it's fine. But I feel like if I said it, it'd be weird.
The reason I think she's the greatest of all time is just purely because she combined education with porn, and I think that's just like very revolutionary. In 1994, she began her own line of instructional videos, which is what me and Seb watched. Not together.
Not together.
And I've got some good quotes from her as well. She says, "Pleasure is very, very powerful, very, very potent. You're no longer at the mercy of men when you understand that. And sex isn't something men do to you. It isn't something that men get out of you. Sex is something you dive into with gusto and like it every bit as much as he does." And I think that's so important, especially because porn is constantly. I had a look at like POVs, and I realized that if you type in like POV on Pornhub, there's probably about 2 videos which are like women's perspectives.
Right, yeah.
It's impossible to find POV from a woman's perspective, and it's just like evidence that it's so like for men.
It's a man's game.
It is,
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
it reinforces like OnlyFans being a really good thing.
Yeah,
Despite what
definitely.
like the sun might make you believe. Like it stops the like it being a man's game because people are doing what they want to do.
Yeah, and like why would I want to watch a POV from a man's perspective?
Yeah, that's not it, is it?
No, not at all.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's very strange. I just think she's fucking amazing. And she also played Hillary Clinton in the 2008 pornographic parody film Who's Nailin' Palin, with Lisa Ann in the role of Sarah Palin.
That's fucking brilliant.
Do you know what? I was going to do Lisa Ann, and then I backed out. But do you know she's played Sarah Palin 9 times?
Fucking
Wow.
hell. That's funny as.
It's like her go-to character.
I know. It must have been shit when Sarah Palin stopped really being relevant.
Yeah, who is she? The name sounds familiar.
Oh, she's the ex-governor of Alaska. She was like the pre-Trump Trump. She was like famous for saying weird shit. She was like all kind of like a bit of a redneck, but also this like quite sexy lady, and it was all a bit of a thing, and everyone was like mega into it.
The world of parody porn as well is like, again, like fascinating to me. I think it's hilarious that you can like watch SpongeBob porn and stuff, and there's people dressed up as SpongeBob.
Oh my god, have you seen the SpongeBob porn?
I have seen
Have
these
you
before.
seen the SpongeBob porn? It's the funniest shit ever. The Simpsons one is also amazing.
Yeah, you got like Avatar, Pirates of the Caribbean, like it's amazing.
I like the retro-y, like weird, like Alice in Wonderland ones.
I've seen that too.
They're like hours long. And it's
Yeah,
just,
they're
like,
really long, and there's like barely any porn in it. You have to like scrub through for hours to like find, and it's like a lot of narrative. Then you find yourself getting quite invested.
Actually watching porn for the plot.
Do you do that? Right, this maybe it meant too much
No.
time with Seb. But do you do that thing where you're watching porn and there's like a lot of build up in the story, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna skip forward a bit, and then like it jumps too far, and you're like, well, how did they get here? Like, how have they gone from like just chatting to where we are now? Like, surely there must have been some sort of plot device. So then you like scroll back, and then you're like, oh, it was the sink the whole time.
Yeah. I hate it when there's like a really nice plot and then suddenly it just like cuts to the sex. I'm like, that ruins it for me. I'm like, no, I need every detail of how they got into this situation.
100%. It's weird. It's weird when they do that. So is that your conclusion to Nina Hartley, or do you have any more?
Let me just double check. I feel like Nina's she's not as exciting. She's great and she's solid and she's a revolutionary, but she's not like your whole 900 fucking
900's a lot, isn't it?
But she has got videos with basically every single like, think of a porn star, she's got a porn video with them. Like she's very well known, and yeah. I have a few more facts just for fun. Her real name is Maria Louise Hartman, and when she explains how she became Nina Hartley, she stated in an interview that she chose the name Nina because it was easy for Japanese tourists to say during her time as a dancer in San Francisco.
I like it. I like her. Yeah, she sounds good. Like with goats is you can be the goat for many different reasons, and the educational stuff is definitely, putting her up there in the conversation because, it's important, isn't it, to not only work in the industry and provide entertainment for people, but then also come out and tell people what it's really like and shed light on everything that it's involved with, especially to young people as well, because like Seb said, if you're 14 and just watching porn, you might not understand exactly what's going on in front of you. So coming out and telling people that is really commendable, as well as all the other things that she's done for people's entertainment. No, it's good. I like it.
I think there's a disconnect, isn't there, between porn and real life, and I think what she's done is bridge this idea that this is human beings having sex, and sometimes doing it for fun, sometimes doing it for money, instead of you just seeing a screen with people on it and not even realizing that these are like human beings,
like even real people. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely.
And without Nina Hartley, I wouldn't know about licking Fanny. So there's at least one person in the world who's grateful for that.
And it's not Lucy.
It isn't Lucy.
Got him.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Fuck you guys. Anyway,
Seb,
right,
you must have known. You set that up.
Yeah, I did. I do it for the comedy, right?
Yeah, so normally after one suggestion, we sort of have a little middle section on the show, don't we? But I thought I would do like a very quick, brief one today because we've got Amy on and we've got a lot to get through. But I couldn't do this episode without talking about, and I don't know his name. I'm not even sure if this is what he is actually referred to as, but I only know him as the Ass Champion. I watched a documentary on Channel 4 or Channel 5 years ago about porn, and it followed the lives of a couple of people. It followed the lives of like a webcam girl, of like a couple who were like doing their own amateur stuff, and this fella known as, to me, by the name the Ass Champion. And this fella was one of the most impressive human beings I've ever seen in my entire life. Genuinely, his talent surpasses that of Usain Bolt's 100%. He was like world famous in the industry for literally being able to shove anything up his butt. Anything, any size, any length, any shape. He's the fucking champ. He's the Ass Champion. He was given like a little tour of his room. He was like, yeah, I used this in this video the other day. Picks up like a fucking tree trunk. He's like, yeah, no worries. Yeah, that's no problem. All this long things, bumps, spikes, all sorts of shit. He's like, yeah, no, it's all good. I've been training for this my whole life. You know, I can sort of get anything up
That's
there.
not good.
I was like, I was just impressed. I mean, come on, Seb. You're not just going to start on the trunks, are you? On the tree trunks. You're going to have to build up to it.
You warm up with a cheeky finger, and then
Yeah.
you make your way to the tree trunks later on in life.
How old was he?
Probably in his 30s.
God.
How did you find out about him, sorry?
It was on like a Channel 4 or Channel 5 documentary. And like I said, I also, in preparation for this podcast, I scrolled through the title of every single Channel 4 documentary ever made, all 1,300 of them, to try and find the Ass Champion, and I couldn't fucking find it.
Jesus.
So that leads me to believe it might be a Channel 5 documentary, and there's way more of those to sit through, so I didn't bother. It was just...
Could have been a fever dream.
No, it was definitely real.
a wet dream.
It's... it didn't, like, turn me on, but I was just so impressed. No, but I was just so impressed. I was just fascinated. I was like, you know, up your bum hole. You know, to me, like, there's no way anything, nothing the size of anything ever can go up there. My bum hole's a one-way ticket, and it's out. And that might be too much information, but it's to give context to how impressed I was with this fella. It was insane. And it all culminated into this thing. He's like invited to this porn shoot by this director who like knows him because he's so famous. So he like flies to America. He's on set at this porn shoot, and there's this guy like on a table, like bent over, and he's putting stuff up his butt, and it's gradually getting bigger or whatever. It's a video, and the Ass Champion's just stood there talking to the director. He's not necessarily in the video. He's just like, you know, there. And all of a sudden, there's like a shaky camera on the documentary, and it's like all a big panic. And basically, the fella that was actually in the video ripped his rectum open because the thing was too big. He couldn't handle it, and there's blood everywhere. Like it's rank. Obviously, that it's like it's on television, so they sort of blur it, don't show everything, but you can get a pretty vague, good idea of sort of what it looks like. And the director's literally like, he's barely sympathetic, which is pretty horrible. He's just like, oh, never gonna get the shot now, fuck's sake, like this. And he's like, light bulb. Oh, fuck it, oh, forgot, I invited the fucking Ass Champion, he's right here. And the ass champion's literally like rolling his eyes like, go on then. They clean it all up, he gets on the table and he just goes, yoop, straight in, no problemo. At this point, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what can this man not do? That is, wow. Fair play. Fair play to you. So, if I was going to suggest a goat, it would be the ass champion, but I couldn't find out enough about him other than my memory of watching this documentary. But if anybody, if for some random reason knows who he is, or if he ever listens to this, I just want to give him a bit of respect and say fair enough, because I will never, ever, ever forget this guy. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. One of the most impressive things I've ever seen.
It must be so dangerous, like medically.
Yeah, right.
I think that's why it was so impressive, because the guy who, like, you know, hurt himself, it's like, oh, fucking hell, yeah, you know, you're not supposed to be putting things up there. But to the ass champion, he's, like, trained in the martial art of shoving stuff up your butt. Like, it's like no problem, you know, it's like, it's all good.
Wow.
You can handle it, it's fine.
How big was it?
What, the thing in the video wasn't that big, but the things in his room, I'm not joking when I say tree trunk.
Wow.
They're fucking enormous. Like,
you must have wide hips.
Yeah, right.
And the weirdest thing, are like, you know, you might have a mental image of this like guy in your head. He's like probably like 6'6", massive, wide hips. He didn't look that big. He probably looks about 5'11".
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's unbelievable.
I wouldn't exaggerate and say I reckon some of the stuff he can shove up his butt are like bigger than his own limbs. I think he could get himself in himself.
And then he just ceases to exist.
And he just goes like
into
the void. Yeah.
He goes into another dimension, yeah.
You have to wonder if medically that has a long-term effect on you.
Probably. I imagine he's going to be probably shitting himself when he's sort of 50. But, you know, fair play. It's what he wants to do. He loves it.
He's the champ.
Yeah, he's bloody good at it. If you're good at something, do it. And make bank from it.
Jesus. Well, that's
champion. The ass champion. Vinny, over to you, mate.
Yeah, I don't know how to follow that up. So my pick of the week is the gamer girl, bathwater e-girl, meme queen herself, Belle Delphine, who I'm sure you should all be aware of, surely?
I have heard of this.
She's iconic.
One, yeah.
Very famous in internet culture. So yeah, Belle Delphine, her actual name being Mary Belle Kirshner, was born in Cape Town, South Africa in 1999, before moving to the UK when she was a teenager after her parents divorced. At the age of 14, she dropped out of school due to being bullied by her classmates for having an intensely dark sense of humor. This is when she started posting pictures of herself cosplaying on Facebook. And in 2018, she began uploading pictures of herself modeling using items like a pink wig, thigh-high stockings, and cat ears. This aesthetic later became known as the e-girl look, and she was basically one of the first to do it and kind of popularize it. And it really made her stand out from the crowd. In March of that same year, she created a Patreon account so her fans could receive access to her lewd photo sets for a price, of course. And later that year, she quickly rose to the top of the For You page on TikTok, which is everyone's favorite Chinese government spying app.
Drop that in there.
This was Belle Delphine's first taste of online fame, as pictures of her spread like wildfire around 4chan and Reddit. Her Instagram surged to close to 1 million followers by the end of 2018.
Jesus.
Now, in her photo sets at this time, she started to include the what's called, and I'm going to absolutely butcher this, I think it's a heigo face, which was popularized in Japanese hentai and mimicked an orgasm face.
Do it, Vinny. Just can you do it?
We'll all do it.
I was practicing this earlier.
Amy's good. That was good.
Oh, I didn't see it. I was doing it. Go on.
Wait, I can't see it when I do it, so I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. It's like...
Yeah, that's kind of it. That's the thing. The cross-eyed, tongue-out thing. I can't cross my eyes.
No, I can't.
Just look at your nose, mate. Look at the tip of your nose.
Am I doing it?
You're just looking side to side.
But is it sexy, Vinny?
Mate,
No.
I'm so horned up. Where do
Is
you
this
live?
better
I'm
than a
going to
strip
find
club?
you.
Anyway, carry on.
But yeah, that face has literally become like huge. It's like a massive meme, and like I see it all the time in like a lot of amateur porn now, which really pisses me off because I think it looks really dumb and just stupid. But to each
I was
their own,
gonna
I
say it's
suppose.
more than a meme. Like it's a thing. It's a serious thing. People like they're not doing it necessarily to take the piss. Like it's a proper turn on for a lot of people, I guess.
I assume it is like supposed to be like a turn on, but to me, I just see
Yeah.
it as like just the meme face. So I just can't take it seriously.
I think it's that thing of like, it's a bit of a symptom of how people have got so into like anime and like hentai porn that like people are now searching for that in like real life, which is obviously chill without meaning to get like too deep on it. The only worry there could be is like if they then find a real life sexual partner and they then don't do that weird face, they
Right.
might
Yeah.
struggle a bit. Like it's a bit of an expectation thing, isn't it? Like people in real life don't do that.
No.
I mean, to each their own. Maybe someone does, but I'm going to say I'm happy to put my money on. You cannot cancel me for this. I want to say 99% of the population, if not more, do not cross their eyes and stick their tongue out when they orgasm. I feel comfortable saying that.
I feel comfortable saying that too. Like maybe I'm doing something wrong, but no one's ever gone. You know what I mean?
I assume they just died. I'd be like, oh fuck, you okay? Breathing.
My ex once was having sex with a girl, and he thought she was having a really good time, then realised she was having an epileptic fit.
Oh my god.
He was like, "Oh, this is great, she's shaking," and then realised she was literally rolled onto the floor and was having an epileptic fit. So she
Holy
probably did that
shit.
face.
That's fucking insane.
Wow. Wow.
Oh my god.
She's obviously all right, so we can sort of laugh about her.
We can laugh.
Yeah,
She's fine.
I'm sure.
So, as her fame grew, so did her controversies. And in 2019, she published a video on her YouTube channel of her dancing to a song about suicide whilst holding a gun. The video spawned false rumors about her death after she took a short hiatus from the internet. In June of that year, she came back and posted on Instagram that if she received 1 million likes, she promised she would make a Pornhub account. Pornhub responded to it, calling it, quote, the best news. The post then received 1.8 million likes. And so Belle Delphine kept her promise and made a Pornhub account and then posted 12 videos. I think simultaneously, just dropped all 12 videos at the same time. But all the videos, however, featured misleading titles, and none of them were actually sexually explicit. So, to give you an example, one of the videos was titled PewDiePie Goes All the Way Inside Belle Delphine, and it was a minute-long video of her eating a picture of PewDiePie that she printed out and she's winking throughout.
Oh my god, that is the worst clickbait I've ever heard.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Another video titled Belle Delphine Gets Double Penetrated featured her sticking 2 cigarettes up her nostrils and lighting them before doing the Japanese hentai face that I can't pronounce the name of.
Oh, get on. That's incredible. What a legend.
Oh my god. Another one.
I want to hear another one.
Belle Delphine plays with her pussy, and it's her and a plush cat.
Yeah. Thought as much.
Belle Delphine gets black in her hole and it's just her playing pool.
Stroking 2 big cocks, and it's her with 2 chickens.
Huge load blown on her, and it's just a Coke bottle. I love it. What a legend. What an absolute legend.
But, I mean, I don't want to be sort of pointing out the obvious, but none of this is porn, and we're doing Goat Pornstar.
I'm getting to it. Don't you worry. So yeah, Pornhub Insights published statistics detailing that Delphine's videos were actually the most disliked on the website's history. And Insights also stated that Belle Delphine was the 4th most searched term, and she was even the most searched celebrity of 2019 on their site. This is when she had a great idea. She launched her brilliant new product, Gamer Girl Bathwater. It was priced at 24 quid and sold out in 3 days.
I've heard of this stuff. I've heard of this.
I fucking love it. What a legend.
To be fair play. Like, it's a good business, isn't it? Explain what it is,
That
mate.
that is fantastic business. So yeah, it's literally just she took a bath and just then put like all the water in jars and then sold them, and simps lapped it up like it was
Fucking
gold
genius.
dust.
Wow.
It, like, you can, if you sit there and criticize her about that, like, you just don't have the right, because if you could, you fucking would. It's genius. Fair play to the girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, she because I listened to the HD podcast where she featured on like a year ago or 2 years ago, and it's really interesting actually because like she's actually a very down to earth and very regular normal person, which after reading all of these like crazy controversies is like a bit hard to believe. She said like because the host asked her like, did she fart and pee in the water? She didn't, unfortunately, but she did spit in a couple of jars, so that's something.
They're premium jars. They're like 34 quid.
That yeah.
She is mega normal though. It's funny you say that because I watched like content with her in it where she does like let's plays and stuff with people, and she just seems really solid and like nice.
She seems like a normal person. Yeah, it's a very normal person.
She seems to think the whole thing's quite funny.
Yeah, that's what she is. At the end of the day, she's just a massive internet troll. She just made lots of money off of it. It's fantastic. A couple weeks later, her Instagram account was banned, having accumulated 4.5 million followers. Business Insider reported that there, quote unquote, appeared to be a coordinated effort to report Delphine's account. So I think people, simps, let's just get this straight, simps, angry virgins on the internet, no shaming anyway.
Can you, before you explain this, because I'm stupid, I don't understand simp. What is...
Oh, sorry. Simps are white knights. So simps are like, they'll do anything for a girl. It's like a nice guy. It's kind of like a, you know, like, I'm so nice to all the girls. And then as soon as they'd like reject them because, you know, not every girl has to have sex with every guy who's just nice to them, you know, then they're like, yeah, fuck that whore. She's such a bitch. You know, it's all that sort of stuff.
I see. Okay.
So people like you basically worship girls, like guys who just worship like any girl. That,
But as
like,
soon as
smiles
they
at them,
reject them
basically.
because they don't have to be interested in you just because you worship them, they like flip the other way.
Normally they get a bit angry,
get
and
it.
I think that's basically what happened. Is they were all felt a bit baited by the Pornhub thing, and then they had a coordinated effort to get her account banned, which worked.
I would love to see the forum post that coordinated that attack.
It's probably on 4chan.
Yeah,
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, probably.
After Instagram got deleted, she continued using her Patreon, which now had over 4,400 supporters, one of which had spent $2,500 just for a personal Skype conversation with her.
Nice.
Crazy, I know. She became inactive on her social medias, but returned a few months later in October with a tweet of her mugshot explaining she had been arrested. And the mugshot even has in the bottom left corner, like the Metropolitan Police. This was supposedly because she had spray painted somebody's car as revenge for taking her pet hamster at a house party.
Is this true or is this a troll?
This is yet to be fully proven. I think
Okay.
I think this is another troll. Because people have done digging and no one could actually find any like proof or evidence that it ever happened.
It sounds like a troll.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's a theme coming along here, I think. She took another hiatus from November 2019 all the way to June 2020, when she released a music video on her YouTube channel parodying the song Goober by rapper 6ix9ine. This video was made to promote her newly launched Instagram, TikTok, and her OnlyFans account. So yes, she is valid for Pornstar. She is in fact a porn actor at this point. And Business Insider actually reported their OnlyFans account draws in about £1 million per month.
Jesus Christ.
She is minted.
Damn.
Fuck.
What an inspiration.
What an inspiration. I would fucking sell all the bathwater in the world for that.
Yeah, right. I don't even have a bath, but I'm gonna do something to get in a bucket.
That's incredible. That is unbelievable hustle. Oh my god.
Her YouTube account was then terminated without warning due to their stance on content with nudity or sexual content. Her channel at the time had 1.8 million subscribers and over 78 million video views prior to its termination. And this drew a lot of criticism from Delphine and her fans, especially as YouTube had like some of the most popular videos are like things like WAP, which is very sexual. Like, you know, there's a lot of double standards happening there.
Also, I guarantee that she probably didn't have any nudity in any of her YouTube videos.
No, she didn't. It's
That's
all
what I mean.
her music videos were like
It's
she was in a bikini.
explicit content, but it's not nudity for sure.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as like that fucking Mark Ronson song.
No, it's not Mark Ronson. It's Pharrell Williams and that other guy. Oh, what was his name?
Blurred Lines.
Blurred Lines.
Yeah. Like I bet it's along the same blurred lines as that song.
Way.
I think it's less explicit than that because Blurred Lines has actual like nipples in it, which like
it does,
I don't think
doesn't it?
any of her videos had like anything. It was just bikini pictures. So yeah, her channel was actually later reinstated, with YouTube stating it was a mistake by the review team. And on Christmas Day of 2020, she uploaded her very first hardcore porn video to her OnlyFans account. So yes, I'm checking the box. I technically meet the criteria of this week's episode.
You're not pulling a Michael and doing fucking Gandalf.
Absolute letdown.
And her name was Gandalf. So yeah, Belle Delphine has literally been cited as influencing the e-girl aesthetic that's really commonly found on TikTok, whilst her association with the gamer girl image and its tropes have also been highly criticized. This woman, who I'm not sure if I can pronounce her name, it's Madeline. It's not No, it might be Madeline actually.
It's probably not Madeline.
I don't think it is Madeline. I'm gonna say.
I remember actually when Madeline McCann went missing. Yeah.
Madeline Aguilar of The Cult wrote, and I quote, "Delphine herself has become something of an online Rorschach test, a figure in whom people see either a brilliant performance artist making a scathing commentary on the expectations of women online, or someone cravenly taking advantage of misogynistic tropes of women gamers and appropriating Japanese cosplay culture," end quote, which I thought was it kind of summed up her whole life on the internet pretty well, I think. She's since been ranked as number 6 on OnlyFans and has been named the platform's quote-unquote best gamer girl. And I believe she's basically still just uploads on OnlyFans and stayed away from controversies ever since. I think she did all the controversies, she did all the crazy shit, she gained the audience, and now she doesn't need to do that stuff anymore. And now she just is just a straight up just an OnlyFans model and is making absolute bank from it. So like,
well, yeah,
I think just fair play. The hustle is real.
Absolutely fair play. Like everyone's got to eat. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
definitely.
I think I need to up my game now.
You need to sell your bathwater.
Yeah.
You need to start saying some like controversial shit.
Get your mugshot in the sun as well.
Yeah, spray paint a car. We can sort all this out. We'll get it together as a team. We'll be fine.
Got to do the old.
Yeah, you got to start. That's where you're going wrong as well. There's not enough. I've never, you know, that's tick box 1 is the weird face.
Yeah, I'll have to find a weird face, aren't I?
But not her weird face. You need a different one.
There's not actually that many weird faces you can do, though.
No.
You could do something. You could like cover an eye. I don't know. You could do something.
Wear an eye patch.
Wear an eye patch.
Pirate porn.
You could
corner the market on pirate porn.
Yeah, I bet that's not a thing. You could be the guy from the start of the SpongeBob song. Be fine.
Blimey. I mean, this is definitely the hardest one to choose. And
I bet it is the hardest one.
Hey, I'm actually gonna put off choosing it for a minute because Seb may have thought I had forgotten or we had forgotten. However, I never forget. No. While I deliberate on my decision, Seb, I believe you alluded to some very special Willy time with Seb at the end of the episode, which I think, we're here now. So, Vinny, should we do the jingle? It's Willy time with Seb. So, Seb, over to you.
Right. Oh, for God's sake. To be fair, if I'm ever going to tell this story, I may as well tell it now because I feel like it's at the end of an episode in which I hope most of my family members haven't made it through.
We've all clicked off by now. They've all clicked off by now.
Yeah.
If the Ash champion didn't turn them off, God.
Yeah, right. If they got past the ass champion, they deserve this. I was at one point, I'd sort of told myself I was never going to tell this story again, but maybe I'll do this as the last time I ever tell this story. I've only told about 3 people this.
And now you're telling it to the entire world.
Yeah, I know.
Sebi, we deeply respect you. We deeply, celebrate you sharing this.
Do you know what's really funny as well? This is like a panic dream from when I was like 15, because not only am I telling it to the world of my 2 friends, but I'm also telling it to Amy Mayer, who was more popular than me at school. And that is like a panic dream. It's like one of the cool girls from school, and now I have to say it's a really embarrassing thing. So this story starts when I was in Vietnam. So I went to Vietnam for a 2-week sort of quote unquote traveling thing. It was more like a sort of a tour kind of thing. But anyway, one of the things about Vietnam is, so I think I was 18 when I went. And one of the things about Vietnam is that there's no porn in Vietnam. Their internet's really, really strict. And at the time, I didn't know what like a VPN was or anything like that. So I had no access to porn. And I was at a stage in my life where I wasn't confident to have a solo wank. I always needed something there to help me through. Oh God, I can't believe I'm saying this. So the other thing about my Vietnam trip, and this is important, I was terrified of getting ill. So for the whole time, I didn't eat any meat. I had no meat, no fish, no nothing. I just ate vegetarian the whole time. And then on the last day, the second to last day, we went out on this cruise that took us out around the islands in Vietnam. It was gorgeous. It was like beautiful. We got to jump into the water. It was like stunning. And I was with all these new friends I'd made, and they served up all this like delicious like seafood. And I just felt I was so comfortable and I was so relaxed. And I just thought it all looked so lovely and professional. And I ate like fucking oysters and prawns and shrimps and chicken and all this stuff that I hadn't been eating the whole trip. And then the next day was my last day, which was in the top of Vietnam, the capital city, which name eludes me right now, but it's not very important. But while I was there, I woke up in the morning, and it was my last day. I was getting the flight home that evening, and my Australian friends are like, while we're here, we should go and see the grave of Ho Chi Minh. I don't know if you know who Ho Chi Minh is, but he was the kind of communist leader that was leading North Vietnam when they successfully fought off South Vietnam and took the whole country. So he's a big deal for them. And they have his body sort of in like a glass casket, in this huge marble mausoleum that's like one of the biggest buildings I've ever seen in my life. And it's all polished marble. It looks incredible. But when you go through, it's really strict. You're not allowed to talk. You can't take any photos or anything. And as I was going through the Ho Chi Minh Museum, I started feeling this really weird feeling of like just not right. Like, when like the clouds go over, but in your mind, like it all just feels a bit cold and like not right. And I just thought I was like sad that I was going home, and it was quite creepy, this Ho Chi Minh thing. And there was a lot of politics wrapped up in it. The other day I'd been to see the War Museum, and it was all quite sad. And I was like, maybe this isn't for me. I think I just need to go back to my hotel and try and just have like, a nice end to my trip kind of thing. So I went back to my hotel, and I was feeling really not very well and not very happy. And I went to bed, laid down for a sort of couple of hours, and had a 20-minute nap, 2-hour nap probably, or like had a 2-hour nap. And I woke up, I felt much better, way better. Like I felt like a fresh new person. And the thing that woke me up was the sound of 2 people having sex in the hotel room next door.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no, I don't like where this is going.
I hadn't watched any porn. I hadn't had a wank in 2.5 weeks or so. So I'm ashamed to say, started sort of getting into what I would call a sort of an unconsensual threesome, where I was kind of getting off to the sound of them having sex, and it was doing all right, and I was feeling pretty good. And I started getting closer and closer to the finish line, I guess you could say. And I could feel this like bubbling feeling. And I just thought I was going to have a really, really big orgasm. But actually, at the point of climax, I shat myself. And started a very, very violent spate of diarrhea and vomiting that lasted for about 2 days.
Oh my god!
Holy shit!
Well, quite literally, yeah.
Did you not come at all?
No, I did, yeah. I came and shit myself.
All fluids.
Oh my god,
All fluids at once, yeah.
Michael, you did exploding masturbation.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
my god. I didn't even think that was possible.
What did you clean up first?
Oh, mate, it was horrible. Oh, God, it's awful.
You just sort of lay there for a minute like, what have
I
I
know,
become?
I laid there for a lot longer
Your whole
than a
life
minute.
flashed before your eyes.
It was awful, yeah, it was really bad. I got into the shower. I just remember just standing in the shower like, this is a real low for you. You're a real piece of shit.
I hope I never have to talk about this on a podcast that I run to the entire world.
Yeah, I know. And then I had to. Got really worried because like the rule in Vietnam that because everyone shits themselves, they're like if you shit in your hotel bed, you have to pay for it. And I was really broke and I was really worried about having to pay for it. So I stripped all the sheets and then I pulled them off and I put them in a big pile. And then I had to go downstairs and explain in broken Vietnamese what had happened.
Did you explain about the wank?
No, I just said I've been very, very ill
Right.
in the bed. And she sent someone up to look at it. And bear in mind, I had to do this in reception. And there was a load of people in reception there. And we all had to wait while the cleaner went up to assess the damage. And then she came down and said it was fine.
She said it smells like cum in there. He's a naughty boy. He's going to have to pay for it.
I know that smell anywhere. The unique smell of cum and shit.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
That's worse than I thought it would be.
I'm never telling that one again.
Is that it? That obviously.
What do you mean, is that
it.
it? What more do you want?
I mean, yeah. You know what? It's not that bad. Like, people can't criticize you that much. Yeah, you did a bit of poo, whatever. Like you said, you hadn't eaten meat or fear of getting ill. It all hit you at once. You shouldn't be embarrassed and no one should shame you for it. I got your back, Seb.
No, I'm sure they won't. I'm sure that'll never come back to haunt me.
Probably not. I mean, not now it's on the internet, it'd be fine.
Yeah, everything that's on the internet can easily be taken off the internet forever. That's the saying, right?
That is the rule. We can all say that.
Yeah.
Jeez. How the hell do we segue from that to me deciding who is the GOAT porn star?
I think we can't. I think you just have to get into it.
I'll have to go into it. This is really difficult because there's a couple of reasons why. A, they're all really good shouts, but they all have something that like goes against them almost. The other really difficult thing is I really like the ass champion.
You can't crown the ass champion if you don't know his name.
You don't know his name. If you knew the ass champion's name, you could have it. But you can't crown a guy who may or may not be real.
I know, that's why I can't crown the ass champion. But that's why it makes it difficult. And I also really like the 919 guys lady, because that's unbelievable as well. So it just complicates the whole thing. But I do know who is the GOAT, and I'm going to go through I'm going to go through them one by one and just give my thoughts on them. So, Mia Khalifa, fair play. Like you said, she came out and she highlighted the wrong in the industry, and she did do a controversial thing, but she was mega popular. Like I said, she's still like the most searched porn star on Pornhub in 2022, or second most, and that puts her in the GOAT conversation. However, she didn't do porn for like a very long time, did she? The longevity effect
3 months.
isn't there. Yeah. So that is that. Belle Delphine, obviously, I mean, even I know who she is, so that is summit. And she has had a massive impact, and I am in the camp of she is like a performance artist, and she's done very well for herself. I wouldn't criticize her. Like I said, if you could sell your bathwater for £24 a jar, you would fucking do it. So fair play to the girl. But the whole face, I can't get behind, and she started the whole thing. So that leaves me on Nina Hartley, who maybe doesn't have like a big statement behind her, like porn in a hijab or the bathwater thing or whatever. She doesn't have that big controversial statement. But what she has done is have longevity in the industry by doing every video under the fucking sun, and B, she's given education about the industry as well as given input into it, if that makes sense. So, for that reason, this is also a first. I think Amy has won this episode as the first guest on Goats, and Nina Hartley would have to be the greatest porn star of all time.
Aww, I feel like I've gotten that award. Thank you.
Like I said, because I can't get behind Belle Delphine. I can't crown her as the GOAT porn star of all time. She's not done it for very long. She catfished and baited a lot of people, which I respect her for.
I think it's hilarious.
I think it's hilarious, but in terms of being the greatest porn star of all time, it doesn't give her any credibility towards that. And the whole face thing, nah, it's not for me. And Mia Khalifa, like you said, Seb, she's been in it 3 months. She's only done a couple of videos and made a big splash. But that's all it is. It's like a drop. Whereas Nina Hartley's been there, done it, seen it, got the t-shirt, and then she's gone on to tell people all about it. And Seb, for you, she must be the GOAT if she's influenced your life in such a dramatic way that now, in your own words, this is horrible to say. I'm like, you know how to lick Fanny.
This is such a lie. This is such a lie for me.
So, she's got to be the GOAT.
She's got to be the GOAT. I felt like as soon as I knew Amy was doing Nina Hartley, I felt like I was on the ropes, to be honest with you. It was a really good pick.
That's like an actual pick. I think we picked fucking memes.
We picked memes and you picked dreams.
Yeah, because I'd never heard of this Nina Hartley lady either. So, but what I had heard of Mia Khalifa and Belle Delphine wasn't necessarily good. It's the meme, isn't it? So,
the thing about the hijab thing, I could have sworn I've seen porn like before that whole Mia Khalifa thing that featured a woman wearing a hijab. Like,
she wasn't the first.
I don't think it's was new. Was it just because it blew up so much?
It just gained a momentum. It was just like,
yeah.
It's like I said, it's like that Streisand effect where like the more people talked about it, the more it just became a thing. And like it definitely wasn't the first. And I think that's why it took everyone so off guard. Is like it was not expected. They didn't put it up as like this will be a big splash. It was actually like one of her first scenes, and it was kind of a bit of like a tester. Like, oh, we'll see how this goes, and then it just got massive.
And didn't she get banned from the country?
Oh yeah, she can't go back to Lebanon. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're not a big fan of her.
Wow.
Fan of her, and her parents won't talk to her.
So, I mean, that is it. That is the end of the episode. I think we have to give a big thank you to Amy for coming on Goats and being our first guest and winning the episode.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Have you enjoyed your experience on Goats?
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. It's been really good. I was very nervous, but super fun.
I feel like it's been great. I feel like we just need to think of another excuse to have you back on now.
Please do. I was literally just thinking that you have to have me back now.
Definitely. You'll just be like a recurring guest now. Once every couple months, we'll think of some other horrendously embarrassing subject. We'll just be like, Amy's the one.
Yay.
Amy's the one. Seb's going to give a hilariously embarrassing story at the end of it as well. But we do want to say thank you to our patrons that are supporting us, because we do have a new patron. We've got Seb.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Seb from Bristol.
Thank you.
Shout
You
out to
joined the
Seb.
list of patrons that we love ever so much. Thank you for supporting the show, and we can keep making content like this to this high standard with these fantastic guests with your support. So again, thank you very much. But that is actually the end.
But also go and check out Amy's Instagram and potentially our OnlyFans with some very different content.
Yeah.
But equally exciting.
Yeah. Do it.
We will link all of that in the description. It'll all be below. But if anybody's got anything else, that's it.
Nah, I'm good. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
I'm good. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.